Good afternoon. My name is Tiana. In today's podcast, Hiroshi will take us further down the rabbit hole. He will continue in part 2 of the mind. If you haven't seen the previous video on part 1 of the mind, do check it out.
Yes, check it out. If you haven't heard or seen the video part 1, check that out before you check this out. And thank you, Tiana, for the intro. So we're moving on as quick as I can. All right? Let me take a deep breath here. If there is no thought, think about this. If there is no thought, then what is wrong with right now if you're not thinking about it? Or what is right with right now? If everything is just as it is, right? Then what is it? It's just as it is. So the mind is the only instrument that we have. Right? As U.G. Krishnamurti said, the mind is the only instrument, but it's the wrong instrument. But for practical purposes, yes, the mind is great. It's a great tool. Where are my car keys? I got to get to work. I've got to make a left over here and a right over there to get to where I'm going. I got to pick up some groceries. Got to pay my bills. Yeah, it's a great tool for that. But the mind is not the enemy just because it causes all the problems. But if you see the mind clearly as it is, then you don't get caught up in the mind. Seeing it as it is just an illusion. It's just thoughts about life. And thoughts are not real. Thoughts come and go. The thought is not the actual, right? The thought, water, will never quench your thirst. The thought, fire, will never burn you. It's a pointer. Words are pointers. The menu is not the food. Does the thought, I see, does that see? Or does the thought, I hear, does that hear? So functioning in life happens. Life is just a happening. But you know that there's no personal doership. We've covered that, right? Deeds are done, there's no doer. And it's got to be seen clearly that there cannot possibly be a person. We covered that in the first part 1. The idea of a person is just an erroneous belief, a belief in that sense of separation, the I, the me, mine. When you see that there's no me, then you must know for certain that there's no other. You see? So yes, you're breathing now, you're seeing, you're hearing. If you're eating some foods, you're tasting, you're touching. It's all happening. There's no need for a me to allow any of that to happen. But of course, in conversation, we're going to use the personal pronouns. I'm going to the store. Will you get me something? Or whatever it is. We're using words. Just like when we say, oh, wow, the sky is blue. We know that the sky is not blue. Sky is only space. So let's say you're walking through the grocery store. The thought I comes up. It says, I see the cake over there. I'm going to get the cake. Or I see the ice cream. Or I see the oranges. Let me get some oranges. See, that's the thought. I see. But the thought cannot see. So you see the mistake the mind is telling you? All problems are in the mind. Problems aren't in life. Life has no problem. Life is thoughtless and timeless. The mind, it's the problems. And I'll give you an example. We identify with the mind. We really believe that we are the mind. The mind defines us. We've all gone through the same thing. Wow, I'm so unorganized. Oh gosh, I'm a failure. I should try harder. Why didn't I do it this way? Why didn't I finish school? I was stupid. I wasted so much time. I'm so lazy. I'll never accomplish that. I got to work harder. My relationship really, it's not going well. I've got to do something with my anger. I get upset too easily. I'm miserable. You see, all that. Wow, problems. The good news is you are not the mind. You are beyond the mind because you're aware of your mind. You're aware of the thoughts. So do understand there's nothing wrong with the mind. You know, all the music and art, technology, architecture, all this stuff. Whatever you're doing is coming through your mind. It's needed, or it wouldn't be there. You see, the thought comes after. There's life moving as energy. Then, immediately after, the interpretation or the commentary story. But the thought comes up after, not before and not during. It comes up after the seeing. You're looking at a tree, right? There's nothing going on, just the awareness of the tree, the seeing of the tree. Then the thought arises. Oh, it's a pretty tree. Or, wow, that's a large tree. Oh, that's a tree. Did the tree come up and tell you that it's a tree? So the mind labels. You hear something, you hear a song. You know, you're in the car and you turn on the radio. So there's that initial hearing. And then the thought comes up. Oh, I hate that song. Oh, I love that song. Oh, it's got a good beat to it. You know? So the thought comes after. It's all happening first, prior to the thinking. That's just as it is. So where is the suffering? The suffering comes from the mind. It's in the mind. Something, the thought comes up, I don't like it. Why did that have to happen to me? So this is constant, especially nowadays. You go check out Yahoo, and you go to the computer. You're reading what's happening. The mind has what? The likes and dislikes. And if you don't like something, then there's suffering. Then you try to resist it. What a prison we built around ourselves. Cage of limitations, words, right? duality, good, bad, pleasure, pain, positive, negative, right, wrong, all words. And the word is not the real. You can say fire, fire, water, water for the rest of your life. Can you drink that word water? Are you going to get burned by that word fire? It's not real. So the bottom line is you are prior to the thought. You are not the thought. You are what's aware of the thought. You see, by not taking delivery of your thoughts, but just clearly seeing the mind as it is, then the mind loses its grip, its power. So when the thought comes up, oh, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done this. What was I thinking? What an idiot I am. Those thoughts will arise. And when they do, you just don't pay attention to them. It's when you give in to them, you take delivery of them, you identify the identification with your thought, then the suffering, then you start to feel bad because you made a mistake or you didn't do this or that. So really investigate, try to find out about this I, as we've talked about it in 2 podcasts. Who is this me? Who is this I? Is it what I think I am? Is it what I believe myself to be? What is this I thought Hiroshi is talking about? You see, without the mind, the functioning still goes on. The functioning is still happening. You're still breathing. You're hearing, touching, seeing, thinking, tasting, smelling. All that stuff is going on. Your heart is beating. You're not beating your heart. You're not digesting your food. There's no I doing anything. Right? In the Bible, it says, Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and the light, or the life, right? He's not referring to himself. He means come back to that I am, what you truly are. So the I am is the way, the I am is the truth, the I am is the life. The I is not referring to the false I. Jesus says I am. He's not talking about himself. And even in Corinthians, I think it's Paul that says, I die daily. I must diminish, right? I must decrease. It's that ego. So as it decreases, what happens? The mind loses its hold on you, the grip. Then you're not affected by the thoughts. They don't define you. And other people's thoughts don't define you either, because what they think is suffering too. Oh, that person doesn't like me. Or that person probably doesn't think I'm a good musician. Or he thinks he's better than me. We get caught up in all that. See the turmoil? That takes us out of the here and now. It takes us into imagination. That's where the mind is held. And thought, what is thought? Thought is only a movement of energy. It is only energy expressing as a thought. Then it's expressed as another thought. The same goes for beliefs. All thoughts come and go. They appear and they disappear. And what you truly are, you are prior to thought. So you are this awareness, right? Awareness is like the screen, movie screen on which everything is appearing. So in closing, investigate the I, investigate the me, and you'll find that there isn't any me or you there. You know? It's only a mental image or picture. And this mental image is based on what? The past. Past experiences, past situations, events. And there's no entity. So really what we call the mind is just basically the thinking process. There's no thinker in it. It's all just happening. Where from? From the source. You can call it the universe, God, that pure intelligence. Is there a thinker? Nah. Just thinking thoughts is coming up, right? Arising in the awareness.
Thanks for joining us at Mr. Snacks Soul Cafe.
Hiroshi.